be back in this town. At least that's what I tell her. Baby, I'm just saying, maybe I just think too much. I'm leaving in the AM, baby, are you saying? I know that you drank too much. And this is what she said to me. I'm just your ordinary fucker. There's nothing special about me. I still bump I'm all night long when I get drunk. I'm just telling you
What's up, guys, and welcome to the Shopping Cart Mafia podcast. It is your guest host, your co-host, Richard Harris. The main host over there is Mr. Brian Henry. What's up, dog?
What up, fool?
Hey, do you like that intro?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Well, you know,
I'm
we
good
talked
with
about
it.
that a while back, and I think that I think I butt hurt you a little bit.
How?
Well, you remember I said something about, I said my podcast or something one time?
No. Last time you were talking about how I was the host and you're the co-host and everything else, and you're like, I talked to Kevin Martin about coming on my podcast. There was no hour or anything like that.
My bad, man. So anyway,
No, you're good.
I'm Robin. You're Batman.
You produce, you book guests, you take care of the merch. I just show up and I'm the talent, like we always say.
Yeah. No, we don't say that.
Well,
you say that.
You say
the
things,
talent.
I say things, but anyway,
Yeah,
I'm good, brother. How you been?
I've never one time said you were the talent, but I do agree with you, Brian.
Well, I do too.
Hey, I'm glad you're here, buddy.
I'm glad I'm here too, man.
So I haven't
I'm wore
seen
out.
you. I haven't seen you since you just had your little Vegas trip.
Yeah, you've seen me since then.
Yeah, no, I know, but you had your little Vegas trip, so you're
Right.
kind of gonna get back into work mode.
Maybe.
You're still a douche, but hey, I got to tell you, newbie won big time at the casino.
Let's go rob his ass.
We should. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, guys, welcome to the Shopping Cart Mafia podcast. We have Mrs. Sky Cameron on the podcast. Sky, what's up?
Not a lot. How are you guys?
We are good. Dude, I talked to you a while back. It's been probably 6-8 months ago, maybe a year ago. Talked to you just briefly about the podcast, about coming on. You were interested. You hit me up last week, I think, or week before last. It's like, dude, I need to do that like that because it's intriguing to me. What you do is intriguing. So I was like, let's try to pull this off. So we booked a date, and I failed you.
It's totally
You did
his
too,
fault.
though. No,
it was his fault.
We booked it for Halloween night.
Richard is starting to get as good at failing women as I have been in my life, actually. So I'm not surprised.
A lot of disappointment.
He totally stood me up. He's like, how about Sunday? I'm like, great. Never heard a word from him.
At the same time, Sky stood me back up because I never heard a word from her. And then
It
was
just sounds
Monday.
like
I swear to God,
cross lines and shit.
The funniest shit about it all was like Monday. Sky messages me Monday, and she's like, I think you said, what happened to yesterday? I was like, no, what happened to yesterday for you too? Like, she didn't say, hey.
And then he throws the Halloween excuse at me. Well, it was Halloween.
I did. You're right. I did. That was an excuse. Like, I could have still did it.
Sky, don't feel bad. There's been a few times where me as the sidekick or whatever you call me now.
You're the kick. I'm the sidekick.
Yeah, whatever. You're the side piece. But there's been times where I'll be like, we get 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something. We plan on one doing one of these. I'll be like, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh man, I forgot to tell you, we're not doing it tonight. So I've been here for pretty much all of these, and he's still like the one with Panhandle. He's like, oh man, I got a hold of Bodie and Dylan, but shit, I forgot to tell you, no, we're not doing nothing tonight. So
Always the last to know.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, like I said, he's pretty good at it.
All right, guys, we're wrapping
Don't take offense from it. He does it
We're
to
wrapping the
everybody.
Shopping Cart Mafia podcast up. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank
the
you.
show.
Good night.
So, anyway, we got Sky on. Sky, I met you, I think it's been 3 or 4 years ago at Peak.
Yeah,
at
at the gym.
You were working out with Sierra, the trainer in there, and she was busting my balls. I don't even know you. You start busting my balls. I'm like, what the fuck is up with this? And anyway, we kind of hit it off from there. You and Clay, your husband, I met Clay actually. I love y'all's Facebook posts. I love the social media. The guy has the best personality, and to put up with your shit,
He deserves a gold medal.
You said that earlier, and I believe that. I see him at Peak though, and it was
with a
probably,
bunch of women working out. Was that not the funniest
It was
shit
funny.
you've ever seen?
It's funny, but he was working out with Sierra, and I finally was like, dude, I got to go walk up and talk to this guy because I see all of y'all's stuff and I'm like, this guy's funny. Like, I want to meet him because that's my people. And I walked up and introduced myself to him. I was like, okay, yeah, I've heard of you. And we shook hands, and he was one of the coolest and most down-to-earth guys I've ever met. And Sierra's busting his balls, dude. And he's over there, like, and he looks like such a nice guy. Like, she's bossing him around, like, telling him all this stuff to do.
And he paid for that.
Yeah, and like, dude, the guy's sweating bullets. And she's just like, I don't know that, like, I think she was harder on him than she was the chicks. I could be wrong.
No, and he kind of wanted that. So if you follow us on Facebook, Clay is a little bit older than I am and was in the middle of like a full-blown midlife crisis. He professional rodeoed early 20s and then hung it up for 20 years. And then I think he had like a, oh shit moment. I need to do this before my body can't anymore. And he's like, I need to get into shape. And of all people to do it, let's find the biggest, buffest, coolest chick at the gym to do it. Like, Sierra's one of my greatest friends. And I was like, all right, go see her. And he made the mistake, though. Like, the first 2 weeks, he was working out with her, and he's like, I'm not sore. And I was like, I'll fix that shit.
Don't ever do that.
So I sent her a message. I was like, just so you know, Clay said he's not sore. She's like, all right, then. There's green light. And then after that, he's like, I can't move. I'm sore everywhere. But that got him in such great shape. He's been able to go out and rodeo and win at 50.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
So he's 50?
Mm-hmm.
God,
49.
man,
I better correct that because
dude's
I'll get in
old.
I feel young all of a sudden.
I will get in deep shit because he's like, I'm not 50 yet. He's 49
When's he turn 50?
next August.
Approximate. Okay.
Clay, we know you are
we're
not 50.
It's not like within a month or two. So yeah, he's still 49. That's fine.
Clay, you're not 50, bro. We got your back.
I'm 45 at the end of the month, but I've still already, just to get myself ready, I've just started saying 45. You know, it's almost like when you're almost 18, you're like, oh, I'm almost 18 or almost 21. I've just started owning 45.
So there's a few ages in my mind that you are a half, okay? And y'all correct me if I'm wrong. The ages, so you're 12 and a half because you're almost a teenager.
Right.
There's 12 and a half and there's 15 and a half. And I think that's all the halves, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, and those make sense. You're almost a teenager and you're almost, or 15 and a half, you can get your permit. So those make sense.
Because no one ever says, like, right now I'm 38. I'm 38 and a half.
I'm like,
nobody gives a shit.
I'm 44 and 11/12 right now is what I am. Actually.
That's a lot of 12ths.
But do birthdays really matter after 21?
No, and I've told my girls that actually. And my youngest is 17, my oldest is 25, and I've told my youngest that you have two more, 18
Like, those are
and
the
21.
big birthdays,
Yeah.
18 and 21. And then after that, you can gamble, you can buy cigarettes, you can buy alcohol, you can get into the clubs. Like, do you really have any other birthdays to look forward to after 21?
Not really.
35, so I can
let me
become
ask
president.
you this. So when I turned 30, like we've obviously all been 30 at one time.
I thought she
when
was
I
like
turned
22.
30, yeah, no, she, like Sky does look 22.
Oh, thank you.
When we'll get into that, why Sky looks 22.
Yeah.
When I turned 30, it wasn't a big deal to me. It wasn't at all. Like, everybody, I know a lot of people like struggle with that, turning 30. I didn't like it, but it wasn't a big deal. When I turned 31, I was like, fuck, I'm almost 40.
Dude,
and
I didn't
and it wasn't a
flinch at
big
40.
deal. And I get it, and now that I'm inching up to 40, I'm 38. It's not a big deal. Like, I don't want that for my life, but at the same time, 31, I was like, fuck, if you round up 9 years randomly, I don't know why you would do that, but if you round up, Tyler Grunwald actually told me that one time at Peak at the gym. Tyler said,
Man, you just creep on people at the fucking gym,
no,
don't you?
I was talking to him.
Richard's in the zone at the gym. Like, very rarely
I mean,
you get
it's-
him away from the weights to talk.
But he goes once a month, and he can make like 17 friends in that one trip.
That's just not true, but dude,
Oh, I follow you on social media because you don't go to the gym without letting everybody know.
that's not true. That's not true either. Do I post every single morning at 4:30, Brian, when I go? That's just a shameless
Maybe
plug
you should
right there.
join.
Fuck that.
There's lots of women at the gym.
There is. Wait, I could hook you up.
I
dude.
can't creep like him though. I'm not like that,
Bro,
I'm
you
not
just
like-
have to look. You just have to look real weird and like have a. Like,
You think I don't fucking look?
no, you
weird?
fit the mold, bro. We got you.
I'm liable to come in there and like drag all of them out of there as weird as I look if that's all it takes.
I don't. Well, yeah, okay, that's all.
I come in there, the old paddle foot going.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm just saying. Is that
So Tyler, let me get back to my story. 'Cause
Sorry,
you're getting me
sorry.
off. You're a freaking weirdo, dude. So Tyler is like 40. Let's see, I'm 38. Tyler's probably 44, 45. He's like, dude, we're basically the same age if you round up. I was like, no, we're not. I don't know what your fucking rounding skills are, but that is not right. But he also graduated from Woodward, which explains why we're a little slower, right? Because this is where we're from.
my thing is the only time it ever hits me, and it is like 40. I don't give a shit. I'm fixing to be 45. I used to joke. I saw my parents have some health problems, like in their mid 50s. I was like, fuck it, I don't want to live past 55. As I get closer, I'm like, maybe I want to make it a little past 55. You know, that was back 15 years ago, 20 years ago. My only thing is like when I get childish about shit, where I'm like, man, I'm almost 45. I shouldn't be acting like that. I shouldn't be saying shit like that, doing shit like that. But when you get around a spring chicken like Richie, it just kind of
absolute spring chicken, dude.
it drags the childhood back out of you.
But
again.
like, even though you guys are aging and older, like maturity wise, I would put y'all at about 15, 16.
Exactly, that's what I'm
tops,
saying.
for sure.
Tops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's like junior high locker room talk.
So at my house, there's 3 boys and my husband, so it's 4 against me and my daughter. And the maturity level's about the same. It's about 13.
Yeah, oh, I get it.
It's rough. It's real rough.
But at the same
Keeps
time,
you young, don't it?
Yes.
Exactly. Speaking of being young, Sky, let's get into this. So, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and then we've got some questions for
You
you.
got some questions for you? Okay. So I'm a registered nurse. I am currently in nurse practitioner school, but I am in aesthetic medicine. So I have my own clinic that provides like anti-aging treatment, skincare, and I also work at a medical spa in conjunction with a plastic surgeon 2 days a week in Oklahoma City. And I also kind of fill in occasionally at the emergency room. I was an ER nurse for a long time before I got into aesthetics.
So, go ahead, Brian. Did you have something?
Anything you don't do? I mean, it's like, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do that.
Yeah,
Don't do windows, probably. That's about it.
I do windows at my house on the weekends.
Okay, well,
It's kind of a, but no, I mean, I've been a nurse since 2007, so I've kind of got me started in this whole field as I worked for a family practice doctor for almost 10 years that delivered babies. So you get to know everybody. I mean, you see everybody cough, colds, high blood pressure. Every time I go out to Kids Inc., I can probably count like 200 kids. I was like, yep, I knew all y'all.
So,
Bring all y'all to the world.
yeah.
is it safe to say that you've seen a lot of vaginas?
A lot of genitals, male and female.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Sounds like a weekend for Richie.
Like, have you ever seen that shirt?
male and female. Dude, what did I do to you, man? Why you show up
I'm
so
in the
salty?
zone, brother.
Why you show up so salty?
I don't know,
Gosh,
man.
dang.
You got somebody to show off for.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize, Sky. Go ahead.
No, but there's a shirt that's like nurses. We've seen more penises than a prostitute. And that's a true statement.
I believe that. That's
But see, I believe that too, and I need some wood to knock on because I'm kind of superstitious. I don't know how many nurses have actually seen my penis, though.
It's coming.
I don't know how many. I don't know how many
just
women.
Don't use that
Oh
phrase.
my god, you're freaking old. That's what she's getting at.
No, I know.
Oh, you got that?
My poor husband, Clay's appendix ruptured probably like 3 years ago. And he had to go have surgery and the whole 9 yards and get a catheter. And I was like, you want me to do that? And he's like, no. I'm like, what? I was like, you want 75-year-old Doris down the hall to come down here and do this for you? I was like, wouldn't you rather just me do it? He's like, no, because you're going to remember all
absolutely.
that shit that I've done that's made you mad.
You think
you're
you'd,
going to take it out on
but
me.
do you really think you'd get rough with him?
No, I don't think so.
I think you would.
I don't think
Dude,
I would.
I had a hernia surgery. Shit, it's probably been 4 years ago. And I remember, so I went to Woodward Hospital, and the problem is, like, I know everybody and their dog.
Same.
Okay, so that's a problem. I go in for the hernia surgery, and the nurse, the very first nurse I talked to, super cool chick, couple years younger than me. I've known her for a little while, and she's like, all right, we'll get you in your room. And they get me over there, and I'm nervous. Like, my mom came with me. I was single at the time. Mom came with me, and my mom's like, they're like, okay, well, you need to change or whatever. Well, So I did. Well, the new nurse comes in that's going to start my IV. Well, I freaking hate needles. I'm scared to death of needles. This nurse was a year younger than me in school. I've known her forever. Her husband's a good friend of mine, local firefighter. And she's like, are you ready? I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm nervous as shit. Dude, she pokes my right arm to start my... Dude, I'm veiny. Like, they're everywhere.
I can see
Because you work out so much.
So, no, I've just always been that way. So she sticks my vein, and next thing I hear her say, whoop, and I don't look. I turn, and I see blood shoot. And I'm
with
like,
each heartbeat, was like...
dude, I swear, I was like, feeling a little woozy here. And she's like, oh, good God. Well, she gets it like, it's all under control. It's all good. Like, she handles it. I see that blood shoot, though, and I'm like, I just start to, like, get like, dude, I'm very mind over matter. Like, I'm very, like, it wasn't a big deal to me, but then when I saw the blood, I was like, I'm not a big, like, it's not going to make me pass out. She's like, are you okay? I was like, I'm super hot right now.
Yeah.
So she brings me, like, a cold rag, puts it on my forehead, and I'm good. The worst part was, we go back to the next room, the pre-op, I'm guessing, or whatever, and they got to do an incision on the left side of my junk, and they're like, all right, well, she's going to shave you. I was like, I know her. No.
Why didn't you go in prepared?
I didn't think about it. I didn't know it was going to happen.
No, you'd already had a vasectomy, and why is it different?
It's just different. I didn't know. Oh. So.
I thought they would have told you.
No, it was odd. Like, she's shaving me. And then
that's pretty hot.
Dude, no. Then after that, they shaved one side of me. After that, the anesthesiologist comes in. I don't know him.
He shaved the other side.
No, I don't know the I don't know the anesthesiologist. And he's like, hey, Mr. Harris, how are you? He's like, man, I think I know who you are. He's like, I know who you are too. I was like, this is not good.
But then, what do you?
Then Gerald's wife rolls in. She's like, hey, Richard, what's up? I was like, I just want to get this done. Like,
but you know everybody. We discussed.
I should have went to Enid.
Off the podcast, we discussed this. You know everybody. How are you so surprised? I mean, you probably like already macked on all of them at the gym or something like we were talking about.
Yeah, whatever.
You know all these people. I mean, why does that shock you?
No, it didn't.
I'm surprised going in you didn't already know that you didn't know all these people.
I just didn't realize it was going to be that way.
I think they scheduled it themselves. They're like, we're going to embarrass this little fucker. Every one of us that know this dude, we're going to make sure we work that.
Well, it makes you feel any better. I had a similar experience. Shattuck's a very small community. You work there.
Sure.
You
I was born there.
I had all my babies there, but when you have like scheduled C-sections and you work with all these people and they march you into that OR the day naked as the day you're born, it's like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, I'll see you back at work in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
This is all my stuff.
Like, take a good look.
I mean, I've told the story, I don't think on here, but before I had this actual conversation with a chick one time. It's like you grow up all of your life and it's like, I don't want to see, don't see me naked. I don't want anybody to see me naked until like that time comes when two people decide to get naked together. And then it's like, you don't care, because it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, if you've been married forever, boyfriend, girlfriend forever, everybody has that first time with that other person.
It's like, I want you to see me. Like,
well,
sheets up to your neck.
Well, you act, that's what you think. And then when it's like, when it's kind of time, I would say male and female both, it's just kind of like, okay, whatever, we're doing this. It is nudity is a really weird thing because
it's so
in the bedroom, it's okay. But outside of the bedroom, it's like,
and I do that all day long.
Right, yeah. You hiring?
You want to be an assistant, Brian? So, all right, Sky, let's talk
Yes, let's get back to Sky's.
So let's talk about some of the services that you offer because some of it's unique. Some of it's just a little weird. Like you said something to me the other day about like the term intimate whitening. Okay.
Yes, that is the politically correct term.
And I said, I think bleaching your butthole or anal bleaching, right? Because so I actually heard that, I think the very first time on Howard Stern years ago. So, and I'm not making fun of it. Like, it's just like different folks for different strokes. Everybody's into different things. We are in an age right now, though, where women in their 50s can legit look 35 and Well, and I mean that like you raised your hand there, but like you're not quite 40.
But that's gonna be me though. Like I want to look like freaking Cher and like Christy Brinkley, like when I'm 75. Have you seen them? They're still
I
smoke
haven't,
shows.
no, but like you
Really?
you said something earlier.
I get, you know, for
their
you to
age,
say that,
yeah.
I mean, I think I've not seen Cher, or I think I saw Christy Brinkley. Actually, I remember Christy Brinkley even on Parks and Rec when she had her little gig on there and stuff. And it was like, wow. I mean, I know I didn't watch it when it was going on, so it was probably 10 years ago, but still she was plenty old. And I guess there's a difference between like, I feature it more back in the day when things were probably not as refined and as good as they are doing now, where all of a sudden you saw like Liza Minnelli look like her face was about
Joan
to fall off
Rivers.
of her face. Yes. And stuff like that.
Dude, Joan Rivers, is she still alive?
No.
Yes. Isn't
No, she kicked it a
You
while
guys
back.
both. Oh, she did die. You're right.
Her
She's like,
daughter's running like the same type of stuff that she used to do.
But I feel like what I was going to get at there, and actually it kind of goes against what I was going to say, but I feel like, those people, like Betty White is going to live forever.
Yeah.
But Joan Rivers was always weird looking. But you said something to me earlier, Sky. You said something about.
I had to pull it up. I mean, Joan Rivers.
14. I was
Well, you had said
No,
something
not
about.
when she died, just her face.
Yeah.
And
That's-
when she died.
that's
Oh, I
extreme,
know.
though.
No, you're right.
Well,
It-
Dolly
But you
Parton's
talked
another
about
one.
proper procedures. Like if it's done properly, you shouldn't really be able to tell. For the most part, like if it should look good, it shouldn't look fake, right?
Correct. Like, I was trying to take a picture the other day, and I need to post it to my social media pages of all the shit that's currently in my face right now. So, I think there's about 10 syringes of filler. So, filler's like hyaluronic acid. It's like a jelly. It's like a substance. Our body makes it naturally. It's what keeps us looking. Probably you guys don't worry so much about it like what women do.
One
Youthful.
thing real quick. I love that you own it, but go ahead.
I do.
No, I love that.
Well, it's just so unfair that you see all these women on commercials, and it gives women unrealistic expectations.
I would
that you
hate to
could
be
age.
a woman.
Oh, the pressure's immense. But yeah, I've got I've got cheek filler, I've got lip filler, I've got chin filler, I've got under eye filler, I've got lip filler, I've got Botox, and I don't think I look unnatural at all.
You don't. But let me ask you this: your business. This is your business, right? So,
Yes.
would you do these things without, like, let me ask you, so let me reword that. Do you feel like you need those things, or did you try those things because it's your business and you need to be you need to represent what you do?
Yeah.
No, I actually got into my business is because when, I don't remember.
Got tired of paying for it.
No, well, that is a major perk of what I do is I get things at cost, no doubt. But I'll just be
I was
honest.
playing. I mean, but
What suckered me into the whole deal is I had a cosmetic surgery, and I'll be completely honest about it. I had breast implants put in probably 12 years ago, and they're like, you get 20 free units of Botox when you have this done. I'm like, all right, fine. Let's see what happens. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I get it. And then from then, they got you hooked. So it's every 3 months.
and at that point you were already into your nursing stuff that you
Mm-hmm.
do, so it's real easy. I would think once you know well enough as a nurse, it's real easy to know, okay, what's the right way, what's the wrong way, and to be trustful to it, and know you're not going to wake up tomorrow looking like the Joker or something
Exactly.
like that. Yeah.
But it became a deal where it's like, okay, well, I have to drive. There was nobody around here that was doing it at the time. Like, so I'd have to take a whole damn day off work, drive all the way to the city, spend an hour doing my appointment, 3 hours back. I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. Like, I need to do my own thing here. And that's kind of how the whole thing started, probably back in about 2017.
So, Sky, what is the name of your business?
Belladerm.
And you are based out of Shattuck, is that right?
I'm based out of Shattuck. I come to Woodward 1 day a week. I'm here on Mondays.
Hold on. Shattuck. Satan's butthole.
You're from Arnett.
That's why I
What?
said it was Satan's butthole. Shattuck is Satan's butthole because I'm from Arnett. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have a Sonic and a Family Dollar and shit, and we have like a Ford New Holland. But keep going. It's-
Yeah.
Sky,
I think
you
it's
are
what
not
you
you're not from Shattuck, though. You're a Texas girl, right?
I'm from Higgins, which I think is probably even
Texas.
worse. We don't have a school
Satan's
anymore.
butthole.
Just everything. So,
it ain't Arnett.
Sky can't win.
If it ain't Arnett, it's Satan's butthole. Mm-hmm. No, we talked a little bit before the podcast. We know some people. We know some
I
families and
used to,
stuff.
in high
and
school, I used to go to Arnett to raise hell with all the Arnett kids.
It's where all the cool
growing up.
kids hang out.
There's never been one cool kid come from Arnett, Brian. But whatever. Anyway, Sky. So your business is based out of Shattuck. You're a Texas girl. Don't tell a lot of people that, right? Now, the cool thing about Higgins is back in the day, Higgins sold 6 Point beer. Everyone from Woodward, this Northwest Oklahoma.
Lottery. I remember on my 18th birthday going to Higgins to buy lottery tickets because we didn't have them here.
Yeah, and they're closed now. That store's closed. It's not even
Perks is
opening.
closed?
Perks is closed.
I ain't been through there in a long time, but I didn't know that. I figured that, well, the oil field
why did
probably
they
killed
close?
it, didn't it?
Oilfield killed it, and then when Oklahoma passed, everybody's got 6 Point beer. Nobody was driving over there to get it. And what really killed them is a couple of years before that, they lost all their lottery stuff. One of their employees got caught. She had this big, huge, elaborate scheme where, like, she was double scanning the tickets and, like, pocketing the money.
Wasn't quite elaborate enough.
She got away with it for, like, 3 years.
Well,
Dude, that's huge. So that
she had
store,
got her ass to Costa Rica or something. But
Yeah, it was kind of.
I didn't know Perks had closed, though.
Perks had closed. Like, you drive by and it's so sad. It's
yeah,
like
I mean,
falling
because
down
I used to go to Amarillo a lot, and that I would always be able to stop at Perks if I wasn't the one driving and buy. I loved the bingo scratchers is what I'd play, and I could sit there and scratch 5 of them. By the time I knew it, I was already past Pampa and damn near at Amarillo, and buy my 6 Point beer too.
dude,
On my
that's
way
sad.
over there.
So
They don't have a school anymore either.
Well, you'd said that
Knew
earlier.
that.
What sucks about that, though, is like Higgins was, so Oldfield-wise, there's obviously the area around Glacier to, well, even Higgins, but Glacier to Canadian was very heavy oil field.
When you get
And-
even up to Perryton, Lipscomb.
Yeah,
and-
absolutely. So that area is, it's that Quick Stop was a staple because that was a place you could eat lunch. And I'll never forget this. A few years ago, me and Gerald, Kent Waddell, and one other kid, we drove my 56 Bel Air wagon to Canadian River Music Fest.
I remember that. We saw you guys there.
Dude, that was such a good time. But we stopped at the Quick Stop on... Yeah, didn't Clay supply beer for... Mm-hmm. So we stopped at the Quick Stop, and anyway, it was so funny because this old woman walks out in my car. She looks at this car, and we have this orange strobe light on the top of it. And this woman looks at her husband. She's probably in her 60s or 70s, probably 70s, with a walker, and she said, "Look at that pile of shit." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm right here." It was so freaking hilarious. But we ended up going over there to Canadian and had such a good time. But Higgins has always been, I used to sell firewood in high school, and I would either make a Higgins trip or a Follett Durazette trip, door to door. If you saw a fireplace, you would knock on their door and offer to sell them firewood.
That's my part of the world. So I actually grew up. It's kind of crazy because you would never, coming the way I grew up, which is a whole another interesting story. But, my dad is this plain cowboy rancher. Like, he still has, like, an analog TV. Like, so simple. And, like, when I first started doing this, like, he was so against it. He's like, "Don't you be putting any of that shit in your face. Like, now stop it. Don't you be doing none of that shit." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." And, now that it's gone on, I've been in business for 3 years. He's like, "Okay, I guess it's not that bad."
Yeah.
So he's pretty cool with it.
Yeah, he is now, but he wasn't at first because you only see all the bad jobs. Like, Botched is a huge TV show based on horrible outcomes. Plastic surgery nightmares.
I remember Botched, but my thing with Botched was always like, it was like anything else reality. It's set up. It's the way I felt. Now, granted, it probably happened to them bad to have to go in there. I don't know if they so much set up messing them up or whatever, but it's like these people aren't coming out of the woodwork to be on TV if there wasn't a gain for it or whatever.
But I think probably aesthetic medicine has made leaps and bounds in the last 20 years that it's so
Like
much
everything
better.
else in life, probably.
It better now than what it used to be. Just like tummy tuck scars, breast dogs. Like, look what they used to do. Like, Clay actually shared this on social media because he's such a shit. The very first breast implant surgery was done at the Mayo in 1890 something. They used a bag of cornmeal.
Yummy.
It's like,
That's interesting.
it's super interesting. You're like, can you imagine like that today? Like infection and like, thank God for the advances in cosmetic medicine, but cornmeal.
I bet those were heavy.
Could you imagine like,
Do you remember the 40-year-old virgin when he's talking about feeling boobs? It felt like a bag of sand. Is what he says. That's what I think of when you say cornmeal.
So, Sky, what is your most common procedure? Let's take a guess, Brian. What do you think Sky's most common procedure is?
The Botox stuff, probably. I don't think it's the anal bleaching.
I was gonna hope you were gonna say that because
I was trying to be serious, but I could see the little gleam in your eyes. You're like, Leave the
Intimate whitening.
Intimate whitening.
Thank
No,
you.
I really no. So I really do. I agree with you. I think it's Botox. I think a Botox injection is her most common. I don't know where else you'd do it, but I guess facial Botox injection. What is the most common procedure you do?
Probably.
I feel like we're wrong. Go ahead.
I'm going to say it's probably number 2, but right now, the millennial thing, like everybody wants big lips. I
But
do
is
a
that not
ton.
Botox in the lips that does that?
No, that's filler.
Just filler.
What,
Lip
so what is
filler.
the filler material?
It is hyaluronic acid. It's a gel. It's sugar type gel. Our body makes it naturally, but this is a synthetic man-made form that we inject it to restore volume. And we can, contour your cheeks and put it in your lips. I've made my chin longer with it.
So would you say this is sorry?
No, go ahead.
But like that used to be the Botox types. So is that like the advances that have made in the last 20 years, like you're talking about, where they're finding ways to take the natural stuff that's within your body, introduce it more into your body, and make it more natural to do?
And it's big pharma. There's like 5 pharmaceutical companies that make this stuff, and what you want them to, because you're injected in your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're pretty proud of their stuff, and it's expensive.
So I would have thought, and I'm not trying to be like vulgar, but I would have thought like that would have been like ass fat or something. So it's a
You can do fat grafting. So you can take fat, like our plastic surgeon does it. So you can take it from like your side or your stomach, and you can do fat grafting on the face. Because as women get older,
they're kind of cheeks sink in a little bit.
cheeks again, look a little gaunt. Restore that volume with your natural fat. So just take it from one spot to the other. You can do it in the breast. If they don't want breast implants, they can do fat grafting, and you can put it in their lips. But the problem with that is some of it, your own fat, some of it lives and some of it dies when you move it from one spot to the other.
Yeah.
So does the lip filler in general? So if that's something that your body produces somewhat naturally, you said this is a synthetic form, but so how long does the lip filler last, and what makes it go away, or does it dissolve? Does it just your body use it up? What happens?
So 6 to 9 months is typical, upwards of a year. Okay, your body is going to naturally metabolize it. So people with crazy fast metabolisms, like all you gym people, like they're going to burn through it.
So
Probably.
definitely Brian. So if Brian got
Definitely
lip filler,
Big
if
gym
Brian
person.
got lip filler, it would last him 17 years.
How bad does Bud Light affect stuff like that? Pretty bad.
You're going to bleed like hell if you drink a bunch of Bud
You
Light.
say that, but I get blood, and I have a hell of a time sometimes pumping blood.
Really?
I'm kind of a freak of nature, dude.
You're like a dried up cokehead, bro. I'm sorry. That was Brian's never done coke,
No, I just have one nostril is all.
dude. So I got to bring this up, Sky, and this is kind of irrelevant, but it rolls into something else I've got. So, we work at a place and we were talking about vaccine mandates and the COVID crap, which it affects everyone right now. And so last week we were talking about if you were to get COVID or symptoms, COVID-like symptoms, we were supposed to tell our HR. They're going to ask you if you've been vaccinated or not. And I'm like, well, since we're oversharing information, let's tell them that we butt chug beers at night too, And I said that in a crowd of about 40.
I heard this third hand. It was in Vegas that you did that, and then I heard about it after I got back.
There's about 40 people in there, and most of them laughed. Some of them were doing the old head shake over there. And my boss is like, please don't tell HR that. And I was like, well, I didn't know, but it's funny because, and the only reason I brought that up was a few years ago on like CNN, they were talking about like, all of the crazy things that kids are doing these days, and like butt chugging cough syrup and stuff, which rolls into the bleaching, the anal whitening we're talking about.
This is like the weirdest circle.
I know,
I've
dude.
ever
I love
seen
it.
to roll into
I love it.
something in my
Well,
life.
it all rolls into the same.
I thought you were fixing to start asking her about HEPA laws or something, and then we're coming back to like putting cough syrup in your butt.
No, dude. Well, yeah, kind of. You're right.
Well, we do
Right,
like
that's
a
why I
lot of
said
like
it.
laser hair removal for that too.
Really? Let's talk.
story.
So let's talk about laser hair removal.
Okay.
I am weird about my neckline. Mm-hmm. Like I like
Like crisp.
I like my neckline to be sharp. Like I get a haircut once a month, and I like my neckline trimmed. I'd do it every week if I could, but usually every 2 weeks. And as I've gotten older, I've got this stupid ass swirl that just happens. So let's talk about, can you do laser hair removal on someone on a male's neckline?
You can do it anywhere. Like
Does
if
it
I'm
last?
like lasering intimate parts, like next nothing. We do backs.
So does it? So talk. Well, if you don't mind, talk about what it takes to. Let's say you're going to laser hair removal somebody's back. Like that's a big area.
It's a huge area.
Well, what's something? Let me back up on that. And I don't mean to get in the weeds, but what is the most common area to laser hair removal?
So for women, it's armpits and
Okay.
like the bikini. Okay, 2 areas that we shave constantly. A lot of women do their legs, but that's another big area. But men, they like to do their backs and their chest, especially the ones that like some men shave their chest.
Right. So let's do a woman's armpit. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about laser hair removal. That's a small area. What does that entail? What does that process look like, and how long does it take, and how long do the effects last?
Okay. So laser hair removal usually takes anywhere from 6 to 9 sessions. It's not a one-time fix-all. Okay. It's a 1064 YAG laser, which lasers are so cool. Like you could totally geek out with like the crystals and things that make like lasers. It's a lot like science. And you think, can you imagine the first person that zapped the person that made that thing? Like, all right, hold still.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
We're gonna try this real
Don't
quick.
move.
Commitment.
It's total commitment. But we have to make sure they're, we actually prefer that they shave because it's easier to see the areas, but make sure they're clean. They can't have any spray tan. We have to make sure they're not taking any medicines or antibiotics that's going to make them photosensitive because you can burn people. Like burns are real.
Oh, I'm sure.
Armpit takes 2 minutes.
So it takes 2
nine
minutes.
2-minute sessions. Is that what you're saying? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it gets a little spicy. I'm not going to lie.
So 9 2-minute sessions. Now, does it hurt?
It's not the most comfortable thing you're ever going to do. So we like to pre-medicate, and we medicate when I mean like topical numb with like 23% lidocaine, 7% tetracaine.
No, it's just a cream.
An ointment that absorbs into the skin. Because it feels like a hot rubber band is just like snapping you.
Worse than a tattoo?
I'm going to say yes.
2 times, 5 times, 10 times?
2 or 3 times.
Okay.
I've talked to a person that's gotten tattoo removal therapy.
That does hurt.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that. So this is different.
Yes.
Okay. All right, because I've actually talked to several people that have gotten the laser tattoo removal, and they said that process sucks.
It totally sucks.
I mean, I'd heard people say it's worse than getting one for sure. Tattoo regret is one thing, but going and getting it pulled off, it's regret for sure.
I mean, they have to use like local. I'm talking like needle injections under the skin with local lidocaine to numb that. And even I had a girl in my chair in the city last week, and she's like, I couldn't even finish the treatments. They were so painful. It's just such a high-powered laser.
So do you guys? So talk about what you do in Oklahoma City. You go down there. You said what, 2 days a week?
Wednesdays and Thursdays, I work down there.
And so you work for do you guys do breast implants down there? It's a
Dr. Love does. Our
Okay.
surgeon does.
What part of the city? Whereabouts are we talking? I mean, how
Heifer
much?
Hold on, you
Point.
just said Dr. Love.
His name is
I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
They call me
Dr. Love.
They call me since
That's-
everybody loves our singing.
People love when we sing.
I kind of if it wasn't for him like, doing what he did for me, I wouldn't have ever gotten into
No,
really
that's
any
like
of this.
we're not knocking. That's like a cool name. That's like when I got my vasectomy here in town. Can you not tell me there's not a better name than Dr. Champion? I mean, I'm not making fun of the dude's name. That's a badass name.
Yeah, he also championed my vasectomy as well.
Yeah.
It was good. I've
And
had
does that
funner
have like
times.
the best like $500 y'all ever spent?
My insurance paid for mine, so I paid like $25 for mine.
Yeah.
Boom.
So at this, I got snipped.
Used
in
it twice.
14. I got snipped in 14, and I am so thankful. Actually, 13, and I am so thankful that happened because.
A lot of the world is probably thankful that
Yes, you're right. I'm one of those people that should not procreate anymore. My 3 children, those poor
Well,
kids.
let's back on track. We're done with
right.
all the cool ass doctor
So
names.
you you work for Dr. Love a couple of days a week. What all does he do?
Well, I work at a med spa, which is like a conjunction of his office. And some days we go over there and we help assist him do like face tight and body tight. I do PDO threads, which are like non-surgical facelifts where we put threads underneath the skin and you can pull. I have them. There's something else that's in my face. Botox, fillers, lasers.
Dude, y'all wildin'.
Yeah. So we went to a training, me and a girl that I work with. Part of the deal is, okay, say you buy $1 bajillion worth of our product, you get free training, which is only, fair. That's how they get you to buy the stuff. But they really wanted us to train with this doctor in Daytona Beach because they said she was the best. And I was like, well, if we're going to learn it, we're going to go from the best. So we went together, but we had to bring a model. And we're like, we're not taking a model to Daytona Beach. It's like, let's just do each other. And oh my gosh. I got grounded. Like, Clay doesn't ever really say a lot about what I do to my face, but when I got home and I look like a chipmunk and, I look distorted. I'll have to show you the picture. He's like, you're grounded. Quit doing shit to your face. He's like, that looks horrible. And I was like, I promise it's not going to look this bad forever.
Yeah.
But it just kind of helped keeping things.
Did you fly?
And then we flew. Like,
so yeah, I was gonna say shit swells when you get up to altitude and stuff like that. I'm sure.
So picture me and another girl. They gave us like these facelift, like ice bands. Like we're driving in a little tiny Matchbox rental car down the interstate in Daytona Beach.
Alvin, Simon, and Theodore.
We got to laughing so hard at each other. Like, here I am driving, and I was like, don't look at me the rest of the way back to the hotel because it hurts to laugh. Like, we got to laughing so hard at each other because we looked ridiculous.
That's not good.
Our faces hurt so damn bad. And it's just like, I cannot believe we do that. Have you ever seen the picture of the two dogs that they've got slapped with porcupine quill? It's like when you and your friend do stupid shit together. Mm-hmm. That was us in Florida. We're like, what were we thinking? Like, flying, you know what I mean? Not that we did it, but not taking care of it the way we should have, because it just made the after effects worse.
Yeah, I remember watching a thing one time. It was a deal about a hockey team, and one of the dudes got hit with the puck, like right up in here or whatever. And it's like a behind the scenes thing, and they get up in the air, and this dude looks like he's got a whole fist coming off the side of his head. And they're like, dude, and he's like, it's cool. Doctor said it'd probably swell a little bit once we got up to altitude, and it looked like his head was growing ahead.
Mm-hmm. And then they tried to confiscate my ice pack through TSA. I was like, you do not understand.
I need this.
It's like, I need this. I was like, look, because it's gel. Like, those ice packs are usable and they're gel. I was like, this is what it is. This is what's setting it off. And I basically had a facelift yesterday, and I need this ice. I was like, please let me take it through. And I don't know if it was for pity or they just didn't want to argue with it anymore, but they let you through. They let me through.
It's because she didn't go after she told her she had.
I'm going to show you the picture because I look like something off of Dr. Seuss.
Well, I swear I saw something on your social media about.
Yeah, it's like, if I'm going to show people, I'm going to be real about, okay, this is what you're going to look like.
You're let's be honest, you're selling your goods. You're showing people this. Okay, yeah, you're going to go through this step, but
I've shown black eyes.
Here's your finished product.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's good to me. Just saying, outsider looking in, it's straight up like legit honest for you to say, here's your 5 steps, 10 steps, or whatever it is. You're going to go through this. You're going to go through this. But by God, in the end, you're going to be this.
Exactly.
I think that's right of you to do.
Well, I don't want anybody.
And then you're your own
out.
guinea pig too.
Oh, I would never do something to somebody else that I'm not willing to do.
Right,
to me.
yeah. I think that's like legit as a business owner, however you want to put it, that's cool.
Yep.
I'm thinking about getting lots of shit done now all of a sudden. I've only known you for an hour.
Well, did you see the picture I posted of Clay? Like, another gold medal. Clay's got like 50 of them by now. Like, he let me do his eyes. And we failed. I saw that. We failed to give a little disclaimer that is like, you may or may not get a black eye. Clay had a shiner for 3 weeks when we were done with him. And then, because he doesn't want to catch any shit from anybody, everybody was like, what happened to his eye? And he didn't want to tell anybody. He was like, well, let my eye work.
She beats me.
But then he looked like Chris Hemsworth for like 5 years after that. It was worth it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So, but he was like, oh, and then I was like, can I please post your before and afters because they look so good? And everybody gave him hell about it.
That poor man. Like, he signed up for it, though. Like, he did.
Well, I wasn't doing this shit when...
I know, but, like, no, you're right. Yeah, never mind. He didn't sign up. You're right. It's your fault. That man is a saint.
He is a saint. He doesn't get enough. Did you see what he did when I was posting pictures of my office team? He cropped himself he actually cropped a picture of me out of the picture and put a picture of himself down there. It said Clay Cameron, handyman, office furniture mover.
Dude, that guy is handy with some Photoshop.
Oh, God.
I've noticed that over the last few years that he's not bad at that. Like, and he enjoys it.
Oh, he loves it. Like, he lives for it. Like, I have 2 really good friends. I mean, if he hasn't given them hell at least once a month, like, he's just, I mean, his whole mood's ruined.
So you posted on Facebook one time a couple of years ago, and you posted Clay's number, and you said reach out to Clay. Something about some sheep, I think. This man had the best attitude. I texted him for about 15 minutes back and forth, the dumbest shit, and he had. Obviously, I wasn't the first one, so he knew that, you know,
It was kind of a prank for his birthday. Like, text him this number, ask him about like his sheep or his goats or something that he had for sale.
He, like I said, I wasn't his first text, so he was on to it by this point. But like, he rolled with it, and I had the best damn time bullshitting with him. And we were talking about stump breaking sheep. It was just it got weird, and it was fun. Like, he was cool about it all.
He is such a I don't know where. We got set up by a mutual friend just randomly, and we grew up in the same area in the Texas Panhandle. It's not that big, you know, Perryton,
Right.
Higgins, and we did never know each other. And now that he's here, he can't ever leave. I mean, who else am I going to pick on?
Right, exactly.
I mean, who's he going to pick on?
So, Sky, have you seen? This is not going to surprise you, but on TikTok, there's a doctor on TikTok. I'm a freaking TikTok freak now, and I hate it because I always bagged on it. But it's such a good time waster, but it's not. But there's a doctor that is injecting men's genitalia with a filler, right? And obviously, you're not gaining length; you're gaining girth. But I never actually. I don't even know what the guy's. I don't even know what it is. But he has. I've watched several of them, and it was kind of neat though, just like listening to him tell stories. But basically, they're injecting the guy's genitalia with this. Is it a filler, or I guess that's obviously a filler.
They can do a filler, or they can do with PRP, which is platelet-rich plasma. Like, I do a lot of that with my hair restoration. Like, I'm sure you've seen some of my pictures. Like,
yeah,
I
right.
can do regenerative hair regrowth, and so I'll draw your blood. You spin it down. Your plasma has a bunch of platelets in that and growth factors that stimulate things to grow. So they do a lot of that for hair. They do it for, they call them P shots and O shots for vaginal and sexual rejuvenation.
Huh, okay.
What did I walk?
Well, so we were, you left, Brian. So we were talking about a doctor on TikTok that does like,
Oh, the ticky-tacky.
he does like penile injections
No ticky-tacky
for
me.
like girth, basically, is what it was. It was just neat.
I've actually seen commercials on one of the local TV stations lately. I think it's a lot on Fox 25 for
Really?
that stuff. Yeah.
Dude,
I can't remember the name of that clinic, but I might have them in my phone.
Yeah, no shit.
But
I got their number memorized.
no, actually, and I know I just walked in, but what you were talking about, my little brother, when he was playing baseball and kept tearing his arm up, they were pulling blood out, spinning it, the platelets, and all that same type of thing
It's a
you're
huge
talking
deal.
about. And because after you'd have the surgery, just to
Help it
strengthen
heal.
everything, help it, whatever I want to say, heal, and everything else. Yeah.
Dude, we were on the way back from, I took my son to Connor State University, which is at like Wagner, Oklahoma, okay, Eastern Oklahoma, for a trap shoot a couple weeks ago. And we're listening to the radio. Yeah, exactly. You're basically in Arkansas. We're listening to the radio, and my son's like, Dad, why are all of these ads, why is there a lot of erectile dysfunction ads? I was like, I said, do you know what that is? And he said, yeah, he's 15. And he's like, no, I know what it is. He's like, well, but he said, and it's not just that. He said, that's just ads for testosterone. Why is that so prevalent?
Can I ask something? What were you listening to on the radio?
We're listening to KMOD over at Tulsa.
Okay.
And then even the cat as we got closer to the city. But you're listening to big radio stations, and he's wondering why
A lot of male listeners.
why you don't hear that on like Q102. And I said, well, obviously, son, we're in a little bit of a different demographic in Northwest Oklahoma. There's things that are more acceptable, let's say, in a bigger city than they would be in the Bible Belt of Northwest Oklahoma. But I was like, was like, it's big business. I said, because, and he's like, why is that? And I said, well, you think about this. I said, you think about a guy, and he's young, so he doesn't quite understand. But I said, a guy was going to produce his most testosterone in his teens to early 20s, and then you've peaked, so you fall. And so I was like, basically, as you're getting older, I was like, that's probably, and I don't know this for fact, but I was like, that's probably a very huge customer source, is telling guys in their 30s and 40s, hey, be like you were when you were 20. Here's, do this. And I know this for fact too. I've got a lot of friends that have done it, and I myself have done the pellets. And I don't know if I noticed anything or not, because like I said, I'm real, like, shit's in my head. I'm real mind over matter. But that is big business as well.
My friend Lori does that. She does aesthetics in the city, and she does a lot of wellness and weight loss. And the pellets they're huge. I have pellets. I guess Brian's the only one that doesn't have any.
Well, the weird thing with pellets is
apparently
the only thing I don't like about pellets. I shouldn't say I haven't noticed anything, because I did. But like, the weird thing about pellets is they just got to put a slit in your ass every 6 months.
That is fact.
Now chicks go every 3 months. Is that right?
No, probably every 3 months. Make sure you get your lab drawn and make sure your levels deal.
Right.
But with us, you gotta be really careful, because that should stop it. If I start growing a beard, like, I'm done.
Yeah, and one,
You're laughing at me.
No, you're just rocking in the laser removal.
Oh yeah, I got a laser. I guess
y'all
I can
can
laser
get
that shit
real.
off.
The thing is with y'all, like, you can give us a little testosterone. Maybe we're just a little bit more aggressive. Y'all are just like, you fuck with the women's hormones, dude. You're gonna have a bad day, week, year,
Forever.
the rest of your life.
We just got back from Mexico, and you can go in there and buy testosterone just like on the shelf.
Would you, knowing what you know, would you have done it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's legit enough down there. It's just finding the right person to know how to.
There's a pharmacy on every corner.
Right. So what they have is legit. It's just getting it home and then doing it right.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
this
it's
was
not
a
like
gel.
Huh?
This was a gel, like,
Oh,
for you
okay.
men. Like, you just take it and just like rub it all over your chest and like
Really?
your shoulders.
And
It's
just
called
your body
androgen.
absorbs that. And,
In the U.S., it's called androgel, and before they started giving shots and everything, gel was one of the first testosterone replacements that came out on the market. And so if you don't want to get a slit put in your ass every 6 months,
I just keep
I
wanting
just
to go.
started
Toby
thinking-
keeps, I'll put a boot in your ass.
no, dude, you know what I just thought about? And this is gonna sound bad, but
Man, me and Richie going to be all gelled up tomorrow and shit. It's gonna
yeah,
be...
no shit. Well, I just thought about this because we were talking about butt chugging earlier, because it's supposed to get in your system faster.
Easy on the wee shit there.
Yeah.
Unless you have a
So,
mouse in your pocket
all I
or
can
something.
think about is like taking this gel. And anyway, all right, guys.
Taking that
so,
gel and what?
rolling on to
What are you gonna do with that gel?
Nothing. I'm gonna just rub it on my body.
You rub it on your horn, aren't you?
would you be more apt to rub like a gel all over you than go get a slit put and a pellet put in your ass every 6 months?
I think so. I've done the pellets. I did the pellets for probably 2.5 years. First off, the cost is it's expensive to do that.
That's why
the
Brian
slit in your
had
ass
gotten
wasn't
it.
really a big deal. Like, I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy the process of that, and it's the weirdest feeling ever when they they prick your ass, right? You're on your side, they prick your ass, you can feel blood running
Down your butt cheek.
and then obviously they clean you up, they do a good job, but
You get a big Band-Aid.
yeah. So, but the weird thing about that whole thing is like, it's just the shoving of the pellets into your fat of your butt. I can feel it, and it creeps me out.
Fuck yeah, it creeped me
It's
out.
it's
too.
cringy, right? But
But why not shots?
Well, the shots. So the pellets are every 6 months for a man, and the shots
the
are
shots are every
the shots
2
I believe
weeks.
are every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
Or
zero.
30 days, depending on what your dose is. But if you don't
Okay.
like needles, that's not good for you
Well,
either.
the needle, like, I can deal with needles. Don't get me wrong. It's just not like. Here's what I've learned over the years. As a man or as a person that's afraid of needles, the term shot or the term, there's a difference between a shot and an injection, I guess, or a shot. Or well, what am I getting at?
I don't
A
know.
shot
You're the
and
one
a-
telling the story.
Well, I'm looking at Sky. I wasn't looking at you for any professional fucking advice.
Well, that wasn't professional when I said
So-
it. I'm just thinking about shot.
So what I'm thinking of though is like, I guess let me back up on that. Okay, so you get a Rocephin shot.
Shit's thick.
That sucks balls.
That's thick. Have you ever had a bicillin shot? That's like toothpaste.
No, I haven't. But like
They mention that and be like, no. It's like, like old school penicillin, that white thick shit.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get strep throat, you got two options. You can take an antibiotic for 10 days or a one-time shot. What are you going to do?
that one-time shot.
But it's like
And I can't swallow pills, so I'm taking that shot all day long.
What can you do? Jesus Christ. I can't take a shot. I can't swallow pills.
Bro, I can butt chug a
I can
cream.
butt chug Robitussin. That's all I can
But
do.
that's an 18 gauge needle. That's like a horse needle, and it's like toothpaste.
Yeah, so that's gonna be one of those things. Like I'm gonna weigh it out. I'm gonna look at it. But
And your ass cheek gonna be sore for
what
several
I'm
days.
getting at though is like you look at. So let's say you're taking a B12 shot.
Nothing.
A B12 shot is way more simpler than a Rocephin shot, right?
Correct.
So those things, like I'm bad about lumping all of those together. So like the little testosterone shot, I'm assuming it's probably not much. I'm assuming it's a small.
It's oil.
So it's a very small needle, or is it a little bigger?
It's a little bigger.
Okay. Well, I guess so, since it's an oil, it's a little.
It's an
thicker.
oil. It's a little thicker medicine. So, I mean, it's not.
I will say this: I love a steroid shot.
Yeah.
That's what you're like,
I love a
come at me
steroid
with it.
shot.
But that's not
No,
what
when
I'm
my
talking about.
shoulder was fucked up and stuff, it's like,
Dude.
it took, like anything
Yes.
else, it took a while. I was like, fucking A, best thing I ever did.
It is. Well, and that's what. So we had a nurse practitioner that dude, she was awesome. Like she would hook me up with a little steroid injection, which made all the difference. Because I have my right shoulder's jacked up, and she kept injecting me with that with the steroid. I say that she would do it every 3 to 4 months, and then she would bitch at me for not doing something about it. So I was like, well, I'll do something about it, but I swear to you, like when you have this much range of motion where you can only go 3/4 high, and you walk out of there, and an hour later you can actually raise your arm, but you can wash your freaking hair.
Did you have a torn rotator cuff or labrum?
I have a torn
Did you even know?
labrum.
Labrum, yeah.
Yeah, it's still torn, but I just nurse.
Well, no, that
myself
because
through it.
not to go back to my brother, but when he had a torn labrum, it's the same thing. He said I couldn't wash my hair. He said I'm sitting there washing my hair one-handed because if I got above here, it just tears. He said
they
it just
can
hurt.
they can juice you up too. So
Well, yeah, he
But-
It's a good thing y'all don't have a lot of hair.
have a lot of what?
Hair to wash.
yeah, no kidding.
That is insane. Like you have a head full of hair. That
You've
is
seen
nuts.
Did you watch the video?
Have you seen my hair? Have you?
Sky, are you on TikTok?
I
Are
am.
you on the TikTok?
Have you seen the TikTok or the YouTube video of me cutting Brian's hair?
No.
So I gotta bump this real quick. So I'll shoot you the video. But Jess Selman,
Jesse Powders. Yes, we rodeo
Yeah.
together.
yeah. So dude, I love Jess. Jess cuts my hair. She's a freaking cool ass chick. Jess is like one of the baddest ass listeners of the podcast. Like she listens to everything, and I have no fucking idea why. But anyway, Jesse, I called Jess like, hey, dude. Brian texted me one night. He's like, hey, dude, let's cut my hair, but let's do it like for the podcast. Let's talk about it. I was like,
No,
all right.
well, I mean, we're going to use it.
We're
for the
gonna do it
podcast,
anyway.
but
Yeah, we're gonna do it anyway. But I was
Jesus,
like,
don't
no,
make me sound like that much of a whore for the podcast.
no, he whored himself out for the podcast big time. And
Once a
so
week.
I called Jesse and I was like, hey, Jess, I said, would you be willing to come to my house and cut Brian's hair for the podcast? And she's like, absolutely. She was pumped up about it. Well, we had this deal where we cut his hair into she cut his hair into 6 different hairstyles, and I got to cut his ponytail off. We took it to the wood, straight up, zero guard. It was just no hair.
I had a part down the
And
middle
he
line that
was-
looked like alfalfa. if I
Brian,
think
your
you
hair was
recall.
you were probably, I don't know, 20 inches long. It was long. It was,
Oh wow.
So I hadn't cut it in 2.5 years.
we had such a good time, but Jesse came out here. She cut his hair, and we shaved it off after that. But Jess was such a freaking good sport, man, and it was fun. But Brian's hair, I always busted his balls because he's been gray like this or white.
I did this at 30. I could see gray at 22, 23.
Yeah, so now you're just like a bright white Santa Claus looking son of a gun.
Oh
But
hell! Look at that.
yeah, you were definitely and it got weird because he wouldn't do a ponytail, Sky.
I hated a ponytail.
You did?
So every day he'd wear his hat, and he would just be like tucking his hair in the sides of his hat. It was the most you did.
You weren't there for the process. I just kind of go and do it. It wasn't like I got worried if the
All
sides
day
were cut in or
long,
nothing.
Brian, all day long, and everyone at the plant will agree. All day long, you're always doing this. You were doing this. You're so proud of your beautiful fucking grandma hair. There's a lot of old ladies pissed at you about that. So
I think it's time to
you
grow
should
it.
have just
You think
dyed
it's
it.
time to grow it again
Yes,
for the podcast?
Please, and dye it blue.
I'm not
Can we
dying
have some
my
fun
shit.
with it? Like, yeah, get some like radical colors or something.
No, well, since you ain't seen, we went, what'd we do? Oh, Joe Exotic. So he gave me a hellacious mullet.
I bet that was hot.
Fucking hey, it was. I mean,
I
behind
was-
this
yes.
face, I mean, the face is enough. You put a little Joe Exotic on it, it got me 0 women. No, we did it over, a couple hours or whatever. Joe Exotic, then when we cut the ponytail off, it kind of made a natural Karen.
Nice.
Uh-huh. Oh, a Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber.
Did you get like a straight across bang cut?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. No, we're going to... This isn't the greatest podcast medium right now, but she's getting to see what we did. So we cut it straight across.
Nice.
Like
you guys
that.
really are into like beauty and aesthetic. Look at y'all.
Oh, hell yeah. Then we did the Lloyd Christmas.
I like it.
And then
Oh my gosh.
that was kind of the Karen or the Ish from Kingpin.
That's right.
And then we put a Friar Tuck into it. You remember Friar Tuck from Robin Hood?
Oh my gosh. Like, how long was this whole process? How long did that take to go down?
Then we did a horseshoe. Wait, we're not done yet. Left a little comb over in the middle of the horseshoe. Mm-hmm. And then I started shaving myself like Britney Spears did.
Yeah. I don't blame her for shaving her
And
head.
then, we went down to the dome because there was no other way to do it. But
Did you get a sunburn?
no, I like my hat.
Good job.
What do you think? 2 hour? Well, we had some liquid encouragement for a little bit beforehand and then a couple hours to do it.
Yeah. Dude, Jesse wasn't even going to let us pay her.
No, I had to, and I didn't give her near enough money for what it was worth.
But she loved it. She had fun.
No,
Like,
she
it was
didn't
fun.
want the money. And I actually remember her boy was here, and I was like, I started to just give the money to her boy then, and she was like, well, no, don't give it to him. And I was like, well, somebody's taking the money. But no, it was. I think it's time to grow it back and then start getting what
Chicks.
injections, testosterone. What'd you just ride my ass about? You were like, oh, we can look at Brian and tell he ain't got no blah, 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 whatever it was. So,
Testosterone.
yeah. Fuckers.
No, but the biggest thing that I can preach for you guys that I'm on my ads at sunscreen. After seeing so many skin cancers cut off people, especially guys, I mean, I know you go to the lake, you're a big boater.
This is like the gym. He does it once a month, and then he shows it on social media.
Bro,
It's
why
like
are
all of a
you-
sudden he's fucking surfer dude. or
Why are you
something.
yelling? Why are you yelling over there?
I've had 5 or 6 beers now. I get a little louder as it goes.
Well,
No,
what
I
he
know.
does,
You act like this is the first time.
or he's taking a bunch of pictures of one lake weekend and then posting them every weekend to make sure that everybody thinks that he's at the lake all the time.
I just know too
I
much
just-
inside
yeah.
information, I guess. I don't know.
But where
No, I
does
did spend a lot of time. So I work with a few guys that had gotten the tops of their ears. So I wear a full brim hard hat. But these guys over the years, 30, 40 years at the plant, have gotten their tops of their ears sunburnt real bad. And one of them had started getting cancer from the tops of his ears from all the sunburns. So he was very adamant when he went out after he got some issues about that. So pretty wild.
My mom used to, many moon ago, but used to get mad at my dad because he did not like to take the hair off the top of his ears. And hell, it didn't look funny to me or whatever. And I'm talking 30 years ago, but my dad was like, he roughnecked. He's out in the weather and stuff. He's like, in the summer, my ears don't burn. In the winter, my ears stay warm. You know?
So, Sky, I guess let's talk about sunscreen though. You just talked about that briefly. So here's my question. I wore some sunscreen a little bit at the lake, but I was not one to just get like solid burnt. But everybody wants to be tan to some degree. Can you still tan with sunscreen?
Yes.
It's just a safer way to do it.
It's blocking all the UVA, UVB rays that cause skin cancers.
But you're still going to get tan.
Yeah. It's still reaching the melanin in your skin.
So I did not know that.
Like, you're not going to get, like, God, I used to tan in a tanning bed, and I cringe about that because...
So you don't?
Not anymore.
Amazing when you get old and learn shit, huh?
No, like, have you ever seen those people that tan in a painting, and they look like a dried piece of leather?
So I know...
I call it a prune.
I know
It's
a couple
like
people...
from a grape to a prune.
I know a couple of people that do that, and I know a couple of women in their...
Raisin. That's what I meant for. Was
I know, and I don't mean this negatively, but I know a couple of women in their 50s that it's very obvious that they tanning bed tan, especially through the winter, you can tell, but they do look like leather. So at the same
What's your
time,
recommendation?
At the same time, why would you? Like, is it that big of a deal to be that tan where you look like that?
Well, I think it's like me and Clay talked about this a couple days ago. Like, us women like to feel put together. You know, our nails are a big thing. Everybody looks better tan, but I'm not going to go lay in a tanning bed and risk getting skin cancer from it. But I used to tan all the time, like iodine and baby oil, like when we were young, like in high school, like slather that shit all over us from top to bottom and like try to go get burnt. But spray tans are super normal these days. They've perfected it where you don't look crazy. You know, you're not like Oompa Loompa orange.
Right, but those don't... How long do those last typically?
A week, 7 to 10 days if you take care of them.
Okay.
Like,
but that's one of those things, like if you're going to go on a beach trip, you could do that if
you
you
could
wanted
tan.
to. Okay.
What about the rub-in stuff? I have 2 daughters, remember. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, that works too. You
Same
just got to be
thing.
really careful, not just like, you know, you don't want to streak
You know, whatever I'm getting your tones and whatever. I was giving my youngest son a while back. I was like, hey, man, that rub-in shit ain't looking so good on your... I call them your knee pits, but you know, I was like, you might want to work on that shit. She made her so mad at me. I was like, just trying to help you, help a little bit, bro.
But preach to them because that's going to help keep one. It's a health concern, and two, like you talk about anti-aging. Like you said, I looked 22 earlier. I do not leave this house even in the dead of winter without wearing sunscreen every single day.
Really?
It's is it like kind of almost like doing a lotion? It's just okay.
Yep.
What could go wrong with every time that you mow your yard not wearing a t-shirt? Like, not you, anybody.
Well, God, your sun's just exposed. Your skin's exposed to all those bad rays.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, you're only out
Your
there
neighbors, bro. Your neighbors.
You're only out there
What
for
could
like
go
an
wrong?
hour.
But like, you know, working like with derms, like, you know, I have some good friends that one's in derm residency right now. It's like, you know, you hear all these stories about people come in and they've got like melanoma, like stage whatever, and they said the only thing they can remember when they were young, they'd be out running around without their shirt, like guys.
I'm just saying, what's the difference between all this and the arms?
Well, like some parts of our body are not.
You got
meant
a lot
to see
more
the sun.
parts per square foot.
Right.
Here's the thing, like Brian, like, and I'll say it, and I don't mean to like knock on you, but I always used to like
Whatever.
I always used to like video Brian mowing with his shirt off when I didn't really.
And then he'd rewatch it
And
later.
he
Is
was-
what's
yeah.
bad.
Saving them.
Dude, it was rock hard. That's all I gotta say. There was so many times though I would Snapchat Brian mowing with his shirt
No,
off,
no,
and he didn't have Snapchat.
Yeah,
right?
he was Snapchatting other people.
So no, I would post it on my story like this fucking guy, my damn neighbor, mowing with his shirt off. He didn't have Snapchat. He didn't know I was doing it. It was the most hilarious thing ever. But anyway, he was always out there mowing with his shirt off, but he'd only be out there for 30 minutes. But here's the deal with Brian: he would mow one swath, like down his little ass yard. He'd mow one strip, drink a beer. Mow back the other way, drink a beer. So like his mower has a lot of kill time, and his yard's about a beer yard, and he made it a 6 beer yard. Am I wrong, Brian?
5 cigarettes too.
Yeah, I forgot
Don't forget
about that.
those.
Yeah, but I have some other stuff I have to get into, Sky.
Okay.
So
Hit me with it.
all right,
My mowing habits, she was out on them. We could tell.
so let's.
Do
I
not
do
wear
want.
your sunscreen.
I've got a few things, but let's talk about your background. So, when did you decide nursing was for you, and did you do the LPN route to RN? Like, I don't understand all of that anyway. But if you don't mind, like, talk about like where you started and where you are now.
Let's see. I started out as an LPN first. Right out of high school, I went to Stillwater and spent 3 years at Oklahoma State. Go Pokes.
Amen.
Go jokes
I love seeing the OSU stuff in here. But
in
then,
Stillwater.
But I got there and thought, you know what, like, kind of weighing, I knew I wanted to come back to this part of the world. And let's be honest, the career options for women out here, professional-wise, are limited. You're either a teacher, okay, or you're a nurse, or you work at the bank, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
I'm like, okay, well, let's think about that. Like, I like kids, but dealing with other people's kids and parents, I'm out.
Other people's kids suck. I'll just say it.
I think more so the parents than the kids.
Well, yeah, it's because of how they raise. I mean, it's.
Mm-hmm. And then
Except for Richie's. Richie's are awesome. I'll just say that because they're like the only children's I'm around anymore.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Go ahead. I'll quit cutting you off. I'm pretty good at that. I don't know if you
You're
heard.
good. So then I was like, well, I don't work at the bank because you can have like hold a business degree, like a bachelor's in business, and not make shit and make $12 an hour. I was like, well, hell, I'm out on that. I was like, okay, I think I could be a nurse. You know, growing up on a ranch, you know, you see all kinds of life and death and blood, guts, gore. That stuff doesn't bother me. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to come home. Life happens. I got married, went through the LPN program, and was an LPN for 9 years before I went back to school and got my RN.
Where'd you go to your LPN stuff at?
Here at the Botech.
Here at the Botech? Okay, cool. I was hoping you'd say that. I didn't know, but
Now your RN program, was it back here as well?
Nope. And by the time I went to RN school, I was going through a divorce at the time and thought, well, hell, I got to work. So I had to find a program, and it was only one of like maybe handful in the entire country. But Pratt Community College in Pratt, Kansas had a hybrid program. Since I had all those credits from Oklahoma State that counted towards my general ed, like biochem, you know, all those classes, they would take it, and then you had like a 1-year accelerated just LP and RN program.
just knock it out.
Knock it out. And
Dude,
so I could still work and do that.
That's awesome, and that's one of the things too. And obviously you're aware now, but I do think it's super cool that Woodward offers an RN program through High Plains.
Through Northwestern.
And, you've actually, I apologize. You're right. When we've seen a lot of people be successful through that program, and one of my good friends, Nikki Foster, is actually, she's actually teaching there now. I just think it's a cool thing to see that, because I've talked to my kids a lot about career paths, especially my older two. I've got a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. They're still young. I get it. But I'm like, hey, don't go to college for a career that's not valid. The medical field's always going to be there. Hands down, always going to be there.
Always going to be sick people. Like, there's like travel nurse ads all the time. I saw one for all the way like Fargo, North Dakota. It was like a 20-week contract. And they were offering, it was something crazy. It was like $180,000
For a 20-week contract.
Because they cannot get, right now in the whole political storm and healthcare thing that we're in right now, I mean, nurses are quitting in healthcare left and right, so you can't get anybody to work. So they are grasping for straws, trying to get people to come work.
So you did so you started as an LPN, you worked your way, you went through the RN program later. And I think that seems to be common, that some nurses, they'll get their LPN and they seem to be content with that. And then obviously you guys can, in the nursing field, you get to see the difference in salaries between LPN and RN, right? And then you're going to get your nurse practitioner right now. But and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's one of those things that you can just see. It's going to take you this much schooling for something that you're going to be very informed on already.
Correct.
But you need this much schooling to take that next bump. And, what's actually really cool about that, though, is to look at, and I think it's common, too, we talked about this earlier, and I hope you don't mind me saying, Sky, you're 37 years old.
22.
We
talked about this.
He's my favorite.
We talked about this earlier. Sky is 22. She has done all of this shit in the last 4 years. Since she graduated.
She lived 40 years of life in her 22 years.
But that's the point of what I do, is to look young.
Right. But no, what I'm getting at, though, is like you are what seems to be common. You did your LPN pro. I don't say, Brian laughed a little bit. And I don't say that to be.
You're fucking common, bro.
You're so basic, Sky.
I am the farthest thing from a
I'm
basic
sorry,
chick.
I couldn't help it.
I don't have Uggs, and I hate pumpkin spice.
She's never coming back on the podcast.
Don't look at me. He's the
No,
one
this
that
is what I
said
think is cool.
it.
This is one of the respectable things about women in your field, though, is that even men, I guess. But okay, so you go to school to be an LPN, and it seems to be common for women to stop, or for nurses to stop there. But to go back, I can't imagine. So later in life, you go back to school to get your RN. Here you are, 37, you're working on your nurse practitioner. Dude, that's super respectable. Like, it's just one of those things that it's hard to continue or to do continued education later in life, and you're still doing it. On top of that, though, in the nursing field in general, and your field especially with the aesthetics, continued education's huge. But
I'm always going somewhere.
Yeah,
fun.
so you're like, you went to New York City a while back, didn't you?
A family, a children, and just everything else.
Yeah, so I mean, that's one of the things, like, this isn't just a one and done. Like, you learn your basics, and then, it's kind of like, okay, you get through medical school, and then you build on your residency, and that's when you really learn to do things. Same with this. Like, you learn your basics, like, you learn the safety stuff, this and that, but you don't get good at it until you start doing it, and you start going to classes, and you keep building on it. But I've gotten to go to New York City, Florida, Las Vegas. I mean, you can't ever know enough. I want to be the best.
But and then I'm sure at the same
learning.
time you have to that step of the first step, getting out there, learning real world shit, and seeing things go down. I'm sure that that's beneficial to have a few years of that, and then try to take the next step.
Absolutely. I think working for a family practice doc for almost 10 years has been life-saving for me. I know all the medicines. You know what I mean? I refilled them for 10 years. I saw all the coughs, colds, earaches, you know what I mean? And she, the doctor I worked for, is fabulous. And so, like, you become their right-hand person.
Right.
So I had a lot of that experience going into it, which, that really helped going into my RM program,
Right. One of a really good friend of mine, she was an RN, and she went and got her RN BSN through University of Oklahoma, and she was very humble. She didn't get out of school thinking that she knows everything. And then one of the coolest things I remember her saying was that if you listen to your LPNs, you can learn a lot. Mm-hmm. The tenured LPNs could teach an RN a lot. And I thought that was really cool because basically she's like, you're never too good to learn something from someone, even though they don't have what you have. But
they've done it for a long time.
Right.
Okay, I got you.
I thought that was really neat, and just a telling. And I don't think all people feel that way. I think I look like Brian. I look down on him for his position. I'm not going to listen to what he says, but
well, a lot of doctors, and I've worked with some good
you
ones.
Fucking suck, dude. But you carry on.
Some good doctors and bad doctors, but the doctors will tell you, they're like, the nurses have saved my ass more than many times I can count.
I bet.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And just like somebody posted a picture of like a IV crazy like drip system, and it's like, there's not a doctor alive that can hook this shit up. And that's the truth.
No, yeah.
I mean,
you can get above you can get that level, you can get above it to where it's like, I don't know, not that it's below you or whatever. I don't know if we've had this, engineers.
Yeah.
To have a common sense engineer as compared to have a smart engineer, and this dude have 15 degrees in this and that or whatever and be an engineer, but have an engineer that is not as schooled or whatever as another one, but he has common sense and can lead you down the right path towards something. It's
huge.
You can have all the smarts in the world, but if you don't have common sense to go along with it.
No, yeah. I mean, it's a little different than the doctor, nurse, but it's just like you can be too smart, I guess is what I'm saying.
But that's got to be common for you guys as well. You can be very book smart, but when it comes down to just basic common sense, common knowledge.
Part of what they teach you as a nurse is to critical think. Like, you have to think, oh my gosh, what's the most important thing? Like, what's going to save this you know what I mean? Like, what's the most, tier of needs?
And then when you just say that, it's like, to save this person. I couldn't imagine that position of save this person.
Dude, you're getting mouth to mouth. I don't care what you got
You're
going
not.
on.
I remember actually when we were in our little training, when you're like, and I did pretty good, and you're like, man, I pretty much trust you. I'm like, I'm gonna watch over you and just watch you die.
That's terrible.
Well, look at you and how you treat me.
I know, but you're welcome. So, Sky, let's talk about what is your I'm going to say top 5. Now, if it's more or less, I'm good with that. But what is your top 5 procedures that you perform in your office?
Botox, fillers, chemical peels, microdermabrasion, and like the laser hair removal.
Okay, so can you explain the ones that aren't so obvious, like a chemical peel? What is that?
Chemical peel is a combination of acids, retinoic acids, things like that you can put on your skin that penetrate in your skin that's going to exfoliate and basically peel that top layer of your skin off.
Now, is this mostly facial?
Yes. Or you could do it face, neck, chest.
So if you look at me right now, do I need a chemical peel? I can't even say chemical. I did the second time.
Bro, you need
We do
way
one, man.
more.
I'm sure you do one, man. Mm-hmm. I actually had a question. Well, hold on. We're good. All right. The laser thing intrigues me. How like precise is that? I mean, like if let's say all of Richie's back hair, if we wanted to,
I'm
like,
not a hairy man.
if we wanted to take, like, let's say the Shopping Cart Mafia podcast logo over there, if we wanted to take all of Richie's back hair, could we make a shopping cart out of all of Richie's back hair? Just like, is it like,
I think it's handheld, Brian, but call me crazy.
Is it? Hell,
It
that's
is,
what I'm asking.
It is handheld.
So we need to
You'd
get
have
some.
to be an
We need to get
artist.
some CAD in on this shit. Is what we're saying. Then it's not like a programmed CNC thing.
No, it's not programmed. It's run by
You're sitting there and you're. I mean, that was like a legit question. Yes, a stupid ass way to go about it. But so you're holding like a laser pen type thing, and you're just going.
It's a gauge, and it's not much smaller than this little Shopping Cart Mafia logo here. And you can gauge it. I mean, you can get down to the nitty gritty. You can get little bitty bastards. Like, we can do like veins and stuff with them. But the bigger area, the big gauge on there.
I mean, if you're handling Richie's back, you're grabbing the biggest bitch you got.
And it's got a little cooling system on it with cryogens.
We wouldn't use that on Richie. We'd let it burn.
That's mean.
Well,
You're terrible.
Because I don't know that the laser would work without it. Because it actually sprays and then the lights.
we'd find the happy medium.
Look at him. He's getting all excited about this
A
over
little
here.
bit of pain. I'm thinking we can set something
You
up.
thinking we're going to do a podcast
Yeah,
from Sky
I'm thinking
Studio?
Yes, we have the video capabilities now.
Oh, we got video
Have
capability?
obviously had
Dude,
the
I will do laser
audio
hair removal.
capabilities.
Brian.
I'm thinking for the benefit
He wants
of her business. And
Oh, I'm in, but you hear me out. I will do
I
laser.
took a long way to get
Yeah,
I
here.
will
tattoo
do
on your
laser
back?
hair removal, but you have to do intimate whitening.
God. Whoa. Okay.
I had to back away and cover my mouth.
Okay,
I laughed
so-
pretty hard.
Yeah, wait a minute. Do you have any tattoos on? Where are we doing this hair removal first?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have.
On your neckline?
Sure, yes. We'll
No,
do my
it's back
neckline.
hair.
No, I don't have back hair like that. That's not a problem.
Whatever,
for me.
werewolf.
I swear to God, that's not an issue with me. But anyway, so let's say you're doing a neckline.
Let's cut him a. Can we give him a
You do
smash mouth chin strap?
Yes, you
beard?
can. We do men's facial hair quite a bit, and women.
So let's talk about the men's facial hair. So on a guy, what are you gonna do on his facial hair? Like what?
Like some people, like they shave it, but they want these side all this. Have you ever seen anybody that's got it that kind of grows down past sideburn, kind of down on their chin? Some people are like, I just want it all.
Hair burns.
Yeah, hair burns. Good name for it.
I can't grow sideburns, so when my hair was long and
Well,
started
like
getting longer, I called it hair burns.
So I have sideburns, and I've always had them, but I always stop at.
No,
So, what do you mean?
when you got the Forrest Gump haircut, you did not have sideburns anymore.
Yeah, he took them to the wood. You are correct. So what are you talking about on the?
Well, sometimes, you've got the sideburns, but they're not really defined sideburns. They kind of just run all the way down. Some people are just hairy. You ever seen, girls that, when they pull, their ponytail back, it's like pulling, hair from their neck?
Yeah, for
That-
sure.
Like that type of stuff. You can do that. We do a lot of hair removal, on the chin.
So does that last? So let me ask you this. Let's say you were to do my neckline.
Yeah.
So that you said that takes so many sessions.
6 to 9.
Does that last? Is that permanent? And here's my thing though: is I don't want the laser hair removal to go up towards the top of my head that's already thin.
I'm thinking we could just start from the front and go ahead and like cut 5 years off your timeline.
No, like I've got
and go ahead and get you ready for what's coming. I mean, it's kind of look at that shit.
It's not that bad.
Why did we invite him on the podcast? So if you did, so let's say what your sessions, would I ever have to get my neckline trimmed again?
Probably yes, but not near as often as what you've been going. You wouldn't want to go once a month, and you might have to have it touched up like once a year.
From
the laser.
You.
Yeah.
But that's something that, I'm intrigued.
For the hairline thing? For
Yeah.
reals? What bothers you about your hairline,
Bro, I got this damn swirl. For
He doesn't
some
like
reason.
his cowlick that he's got on
I
his
don't.
head.
Oh, I've got like 5 cowlicks on
It's
my
not, Brian,
head.
it's not the top of my head that bothers me. Like, I'm one of those guys that I like a clean neckline.
Keep getting the gump.
Dude, I did that one time on accident.
Well, it might have been what we need.
But it really doesn't matter, though, because, like, in 2 weeks, though, your neckline's going to be, like, it bothers me. So, that's why I'm asking. So, laser hair removal is one of your top things that you do. What was the other one? What'd you say?
Microdermabrasion.
What is that?
I take a kind of like a pin with like a diamond tip on it, and I'm basically like sandpapering the top layer of your skin off.
Is that so? I've seen like several women that have those little things that swirl on their face. Is that?
That's something they're washing their face with.
Okay.
That's a Lumi Spa.
Okay, so totally different then.
Totally different.
All right.
Mine are little bitty, like actual diamond tips. Like I dropped one down my sink and I about shit because it's like a $250 tip. And I've got like 8 of them. And I was like, oh.
Were you able to recover that?
I was still at the hospital at the time. My first office was at the hospital, and I, thank goodness, the maintenance man, the unsung hero of the hospital. I was like, I got a problem. Can you please come help me fish this out of here? And he did. Thank goodness. I wish I'd bought another one. It would have been a problem, but it saved me some money.
So they probably last a long time, though.
Yeah,
right?
they're actual real diamond tips. I mean,
Sure. So since that's just a diamond tip and it's going against skin, those probably last like forever, pretty much.
yeah, I'll probably have to replace them here in a few years, just because they're not going to be as sharp. Kind of after you use sandpaper so long, it kind of gets a little dull.
Right. So what's your favorite thing to do? Like, what do you actually enjoy doing? What is your most favorite?
I love liquid facelifts.
So what does that entail? Is that injecting the
Filler.
that you were talking about earlier? So like chin, cheeks, stuff like that? Mm-hmm. So in that process, when you inject that, is that something that you're injecting? Obviously, you're injecting it in certain spots. But how does that level? How does it even out? Is it due to how you inject it?
Yes, and where you're putting it, kind of what plane. So one of the fun things that I got to do not long ago is I've taken 2 of them, but the last one I took was much more intense, was a human cadaver facial class where we had, like, because I can look, like, you have to know what you're doing. Like, you have lots of blood supply and everything to your face. If I clog up one of those with this filler, your tissue is going to die. You could permanently disfigure people and even blind them with these fillers.
Wow.
So we got to that cadaver class, and Clay thought that was the most morbid thing ever. He's like, is that a bunch of heads on a table? I was like, those are a bunch of human heads on a table. And we injected them with all the fillers. They were dyed like neon colors so we could see them. And then we dissected it down to the bone to see where the fillers went, to make sure that we were injecting them in the right plane.
So that is, man, that's crazy. That's intriguing, though. So
it's medicine, like legit medicine.
yeah, and that, like, it's hard to, like, out in a field outside of medicine. It's hard to understand how important cadavers are. Like, I have cadaver bone in my back I had an L5S1 fusion. Obviously you're thankful for those things, but so, like, you had a legit human head, like a head only?
Head only.
So is it weird? Like, is that odd? Is it freaky? Because it seemed like it.
In my profession, we deal with that. Not really. I'd done one before, but so it was me and one of my good friends that I work with long in the city, and another friend we met there. It was 4 of us to one cadaver head. I mean, they actually injected, so the venous and arterial blood supply, they injected them with red and blue like latex, so it really popped up the vessels in the face. So when we dissected them, we could see them. No, it was kind of neat. It was very, very respectful of the company. We had a moment of silence for everybody that donated, because if it wasn't for people like that, doctors, nurses, nobody would get to learn.
Oh, absolutely.
And, and so there was a guy walking around the room making sure everything that we were doing was ethical. We weren't allowed to take any pictures or videos or anything. But, you look at it as it's kind of like, when you're doing fetal pigs and frogs and stuff in biology class, you're like, they give you an assignment. You're like, okay, I'm going to do it. And
I've always been like a cremation guy. But
he just changed his mind.
You're making me think, I mean, my cremation thing is one thing. Like if I got cremated, I'd be like, it goes two ways. If either one of my girls wanted to have my ashes, they could have it. And I'm not freaking playing when I say this, but now you got me thinking like, man, I could make a little more mark on life than just getting put in a freaking furnace and fried away and done whatever to. I mean, I'm like being total legit here.
There's a legit need for it. And, we used to get in Shattuck, and Woodward got them too. We used to get all the med students from OU, all the medical students. They did away with it several years ago. It was kind of sad, but they'd have to come out and do a rural rotation in smaller hospitals to work the ER, deliver babies, do everything. And they told us that, you get a cadaver, like med school, your gross anatomy lab, your first semester, you get a cadaver like an entire human body that lasts you an entire semester. And it's like they crank it down in like the formaldehyde tanks and they crank it back up. But at the end of it now, you actually have a dinner and reception with your cadaver's family. And they have like a big, huge slideshow presentation of like who these people were. And a lot of them are very successful, like lawyers, doctors that wanted to contribute.
Sure, yeah.
Instead of just, being cremated or buried.
And even that, not to take back over or nothing, but I remember when my oldest was born, it was in Shattuck. We turned into a regular delivery to an emergency C-section, just had some stuff go on. But during the regular delivery, I'm pretty sure they were letting her grandma, my ex's mom, in there, and me, and that's it. Mm-hmm. We're like, okay, whatever. And then it wasn't like 25 people or nothing, but they were like, we have some students from OU Medical here. Do y'all mind if whatever? And I'm pretty sure when we were trying to just have her naturally, that we were like, yeah, I know it. My thought, I don't remember. It's fucking 25 years ago. But I don't remember exactly what I said or whatever. I'm sure it was more up to my ex, but I was like, they have to learn. If they don't see and don't, there was a part of me that was really like, but I referred to her, and I'm pretty sure she was okay with it now that I think about it, because afterwards and everything we talked about, it's like, it's really weird to be told you can only have 2 family members in here, but hey, we want to bring this. It wasn't like an auditorium or nothing, but there was a few people that got to come in and watch that happen. But I just remember in my mind letting her decide and being like, well, how do they learn? What if one of them delivers my grandchild later on or something like that? It just, I don't know.
I'm thankful because sometimes they're like, I don't want no student. And I'm like, how are they going to learn? And I've tried to do that. I got preceptored a lot of nursing students from the VOTEC, and I've had them in the ER and everything else. And, this is a profession where the old eat their young, sadly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys can't do that. Teach them, these nurses that come out are only going to be as good as the people that they first train with.
Everybody wants to keep their secrets, their trade secrets to themselves, and they don't want to. Sure, yeah.
And so anyway, it's like I'd always go in the ER. It's like, hey, this is such and such. She's a student. She's great. And do you mind if she does your IV? Like, kind of let them think it's okay, but not really give them an option. Kind of like, well, she's doing it. You know?
I did the same thing about a year ago now. I was going through some blood work stuff, and I was up at the hospital one day, and the gal that had done mine for the previous couple of days, they were just drawing some blood off of me. I produced too much blood, and so I was just given like a unit every week or something like that. And the gal that had done it for the 2 previous, she came in, and she's like, hey, this is such and such from the VOTEC. Do you mind? And I'm like, I just looked at them both. I said, gotta learn. It's fine. And I'm like Richard. Actually, I hate needles as much. And in my mind, I was like, God, she's gonna freaking do this to me 17 times and whatever. But it's like, you never know if that person might be doing something for a family member, a loved one, or whatever later on down the road. I mean, to where, I mean, people need to be open-minded to that, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I'm super thankful those people that first let me poke them. Like when I learned how to do aesthetics, I went down to Dallas and spent a week.
I too am thankful for the people that first let me poke them.
Man, I got serious. I was so serious for 5 minutes, and it's usually me that's being
And now look,
like
Richard's
junior high Johnny, and you
Sky,
made me feel so much better.
I apologize, Sky. Go ahead. I apologize. Go.
No, but I probably look back on like my first like pair of like lip filler that I did, and probably think that was freaking horrible. You know what I mean? Or your first Botox. You know what I mean? The first time that you learn to do something, you're
Right.
learning,
You've learned a lot since that time.
Oh heck yeah! I'm way better now than
But
when I ever started.
You know, you can apply that to so much in your life too, not just, you know, your career. But so Sky, I do want to first off, I want to say thank you very much for coming on. But I want to let's give your business a plug. So if you don't mind, you spoke a little bit on it, but quick rundown of your business, what you do, how you can be reached, and yeah, let's go.
Okay.
I got a little something after that. Go ahead, though.
Perfect. Okay. My main office in Shattuck, it's called Belladerm Med. You can find me on my website. It's www.belladermmed.com. I've got Instagram page, Skin by Sky, as well as my Facebook with the same handle. And I work Monday through Friday. I'm either Shattuck, Woodward, or Oklahoma City. So I would love to see anybody, especially men. And I'm just getting to see more men, and I kind of like that.
So well, we're gonna have to throw you, like Brian. We're gonna have to come see you for some sort of something. Brian's gonna do the whitening as we talked about.
Can't wait.
I'm gonna do the neckline, and but no. Anyway, in all seriousness, though, dude, you offer a cool ass service to Northwest Oklahoma that's obviously becoming more and more popular. But it's really cool. I can't say thanks enough for coming on and dealing with Brian and I's bullshit. Because Brian's a shithead, I'm a shithead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Holiday season coming up, man.
It is.
We have a lot more male listeners than we do female
You want a gift certificate?
No, I don't want one. If somebody, one of our buddies out there, one of our many male listeners out there, let alone if we have female listeners that become interested or whatever, gift certificate's not the right way to put it. I don't know if it is or not, but is there a way for if a guy has had his wife, his girlfriend or whatever saying like they want to do this and they want to do that, and if they're like, or even birthday or whatever, is there a way to get a hold of you and say like, hey, I want to do this for my woman and let's make it happen?
Yes, gift certificates. Yeah, don't buy us stupid shit, guys. Like
Make us pretty. Make us pretty.
Well,
and it's a gift for both of us.
Well, I mean, give good gifts. You know, nails, massages, detail our vehicles. Stuff that we'll appreciate. Or if you hear us bitching about, like, God, I really like that. And if we say it more than once, that means we really want it.
I mean, I've been divorced 3 times, and I've picked up on some shit, but not all of it. But legit, you do gift certificates and stuff like that,
I
correct?
do.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And so all the links and everything that you just people can find that there too as well, right?
Yes, they can.
And I'm sure that the producer will find the correct way to link all this when he posts the podcast and everything else.
Do we have a
freaking
producer?
social media genius across the way?
All right, yeah, we will. So we will absolutely share Sky's all of her face pages, Insta Twitters, and all of that stuff. We'll make sure that all of her stuff.
Snap.
Yeah, her chat snap. We'll share her chat snap and everything.
Don't forget about the gram.
No, we're gonna be on the Grizzam. Anyway, Sky, hey, for real though, thank you very much for coming
You're
on
welcome.
the podcast.
For real, yeah.
It has been fun. It's been entertaining, and I can't say thank you enough.
And informative. He won't say that, so I'll say it's been
It
informative
has
as
been.
well.
The cool thing about this is like you knowing that you're coming into just a random group of douchebags, and you're going to, you're going to talk to us. You're going to teach us, like, we're little third graders. You're going to talk to us, and anyway, it's appreciated. I know that we were kind of some shitheads, and we're not butt chugging anything, Brian. We're not going to be butt chugging this.
But he is getting some intimate whitening.
And here's the thing with
Probably
the intimate whitening.
not, but
No, we're going to, Brian. But here's the deal, Sky. Can I watch? can I be there? I'll scrub up. I'll be
Up to
elbow.
the client.
I'll be elbow deep. I'll be elbow deep, scrubbed up elbow deep.
Now I feel like you're trying to get trained or something where I'm going to be like, I know you
She's
don't
gonna
have to
what?
like go under anesthesia for it or anything, but it's like, I'm going to be asleep and I'm going to wake up and I'll just hear like her go, Richard, you did a decent job.
Dude, no. Sky's letting me run the laser, and here's the thing: is we're doing this in a Jiffy Trip bathroom, dude. It's gonna be so awesome.
We can't run the laser. It doesn't have a 220 outlet. That's how much power it pulls.
Okay, so we're gonna
You got one in the garage.
I got one in the garage. Sky's bringing the laser to my house. Oh, we gotta quit. All right, so I'm been such a
No, I tried to get serious, promote a little bit,
I know,
everything
and then-
else, and then
I
what
can't help it.
happens?
I can't help it.
Thanks, guys, for listening.
Yes, thank you. It was fun.
And go get your old lady a little something,
Yeah.
and make sure you do it from Sky.
That's right.
Like
Skin
she
by
just
Sky.
said, you can do whatever, but
Be like, not that you- not that
ladies
you
want to
need it,
look
but-
good.
They do.
Yeah,
And you guys want us to look good, don't
fuck
lie.
yeah, we do.
There you go.
Sky, one more time. Hit us with your socials.
Instagram and Facebook pages are Skin by Sky. Okay. My website is www.belladermmed.com. Is the LLC name.
All right. Sky,
Thank
thank
you
you
for
very
being
much
such a
for coming
sweetheart.
on. You're awesome.
Welcome.
All right, guys. Shopping Cart Mafia podcast. We are out this bitch with a little bit more Giovanni and the Hired Guns. Ramon Ayala.
You guys watch Yellow?
I'm at the same damn place.